morning, everyone, and welcome to another Thursday morning of Getting It Done with Gratitude. Here with you again is myself, Karen Williams Thompson, and my co-host, Shelly Ann Edwards Barron. The thing is, today we also have a guest with us, but we can't wait to introduce you to her. Now, this month, we have really been focusing on health. We started the month looking at health and how gratitude impacts your health and how you can actually apply gratitude practices to really enhance your health. Not only your physical health, your mental and your social. So we're looking at it from every area because what we know to be true is that when you practice gratitude daily, when you make it a habit, every area in your life gets better. Every area feels better. So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I am Karen Williams Thompson. As I shared, I'm a life and business strategist. And what I do is I help women get crystal clear on what is it they really, really want, especially busy, professional, and purpose-driven women. And I help them to create a plan that allows them to successfully achieve their goals and live the lives that they have imagined for themselves and to do it with gratitude. Shelley?
Hi, and I'm Shelly Ann Edwards Barron, and I'm a gratitude guide. What I do is to help those who are feeling stuck to work through those challenges that they're facing with gratitude so that they can build the resilience needed to keep getting up. Because we know how life kind of, throws battles at us, and sometimes we may fall from time to time, but gratitude helps us get back up, dust off, and keep going to accomplish our goals. So the process is really about incorporating a daily habit of gratitude so that you can say it right, say it loud, and say it always.
Absolutely. And to our guests, I met Gia Casteel-Brown about 2 years ago, and we met at a networking event. And we connected way back then. Our spirits just joined somehow over the water. She's over in California. We are here in the Caribbean. But we connected, and that connection has remained strong. Eventually, Gia and I would work together, and I am so, so proud and happy for her because Gia has gone on now to become certified as a wellness coach. She has started her own business, Pheonix Phountain, and it is really our pleasure to have her as
Yes,
our
it is.
first guest on Getting It Done with Gratitude. So from Shelly Ann and myself, welcome, welcome, Gia. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Karen and Shelley Lynn, for having me on your platform today. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you about a little bit about myself and my journey and how I became a wellness coach. As Karen has already said, my name is Gia Casteel-Brown. I'm also known as Pheonix, the Chief Care Officer of Pheonix's Phountain Wellness Coaching. I'm also an executive assistant for a nonprofit organization where I've supported the CEO over the past 15 years over 3 different places of employment. And it was during the pandemic and having recently at that time divorced after 25 years, I had recently undergone my second hip replacement. And I just had a lot of time to think and sit and reflect about my life and what I was doing and what was going on. During the years leading up to my divorce, I often would drive to isolated places and just spend a lot of time crying and just being alone. And although I had family and friends who I knew loved me and supported me, I didn't feel comfortable, and nor did I really want to share what was going on with my life with them. I often wished I just had a place that I could just be, to have somebody to listen to me, to offer guidance, just to have a safe place to be in. And after getting divorced, that desire continued to grow. And I also knew that there were other women out there like myself that were going through life changes, be it a divorce, be it physical, hormonal changes, being children leaving their homes. But life happens. And as changes happen, every woman and person, they need somewhere that they can just be, where they can exhale, be free to express themselves or not without judgment or reservations. And after a year and a half of coursework with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York, I became a certified wellness coach. And from that, Phoenix's Phountain Wellness Coaching was formed.
Wow, that's a story. And
Thank
a story of triumph in the end, of course, moving through the life stages.
you.
So, being a certified wellness coach, and that means that you work with clients to develop a wellness program and so on. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And because I'm so big on gratitude, my first question is going to be, how is gratitude connected with all of that? So, but let us know what is a wellness program and why should we even consider having one?
Well, wellness is really important, Shelley, because we as women, we have so many responsibilities that we carry in our lives, whether we're mothers, we might be a spouse, might be partners, we're CEOs in our businesses, we support other people, we work, we just are caregivers to so many people in so many ways. But in order for us to do that in the best way possible, we have to take care of ourselves. And we're not taking care of ourselves from a place of selfishness, but it's self-love. You remember how we always say in the airport, on the airplane, put on your mask, your oxygen mask first? It's true. It's very true. And when we start loving ourselves fully, we can have the capacity to love others freely. And starting that with gratitude and just being grateful for the very little things, the very small things, can just change your whole day. It can change your viewpoint, your attitude. Instead of saying, this is something I have to do, this is something I have the pleasure of doing, the ability, that is something that I can do. So it's about changing your viewpoint.
Absolutely. And that ties in with when I experienced that, my initiation into gratitude, that's the process that I went through. The first thing I did was to change the language that I used in reference to some of the experiences that I have and that I've had. And that is really the first step of the gratitude strategy, which is reframing, rephrasing, and saying it right. Because I believe that sometimes we may believe we're being positive and we believe that we're saying things, that are uplifting, but it's not really getting to the core of what is needed. And that's where, saying it right comes in. And I'm so happy that you mentioned that. So then generally a wellness program is about taking care of ourselves.
Yes, it is also, wellness isn't just about nutrition. A lot of times people think that wellness focuses simply on nutrition, health, but wellness encompasses gratitude. It encompasses your physical, your mental, your spiritual, and your relationships. So it's a whole package. It's about everything that we do because it's all tied together. When we don't get enough sleep, it impacts our attitude. But when we take that time to love ourselves, get the rest we need, we can show up differently when we get up in the morning. We can start the day with prayer. We can start our day in meditation. And instead of turning on the phone and looking at it and engaging, I found myself this morning, your phone gives you those little notes and tells you how many hours you've been on the screen. And I was a little mortified that I saw that my screen time last week. And I said that, but it made me recognize why maybe my attitude was a little off last week, because I was spending more time engaging in things that were not fulfilling my soul with positive energy. And so those are the times that we need to look at ourselves and reflect and find that balance. And so Wellness is about finding balance in your life, being able to recognize in those instances when you need to tweak something, when you need to stop back and take a time of self-reflection and maybe not give out so much to others, but give a little bit more to yourself so that you can show up in a more positive way.
When Gia was talking earlier, one of the words that came to mind was resilience. And we know that practicing gratitude is really big about resilience because it allows us to be resilient. And both of you ladies have spoken about how life happens. And we know for a fact that you create a plan, you set something in motion that you want to do, and something wants to interrupt it, disrupt it, something happens. But being resilient in that moment, being able to practice gratitude, to shift the language of how we're speaking, as Gia so explained it so well earlier, changing the way that we actually say it. And Gia's story is just one of such resilience of coming through the trials, but still pursuing the goals and the dream that she had. And gratitude allows us to do that. Gratitude allows us to, as you just said, take that pause, take that step back, and know that it is okay to love ourselves a little bit. Because after all, when we love ourselves, we are able to love others. And Gia, you didn't know, but you really touched on something that is close to Shelley's heart, and that's getting enough sleep and rest. So when you talked about getting enough sleep, I could hear Shelley from all over here, because one thing that Shelley be on about is practicing gratitude to get sleep. And for someone like Shelley who has anxiety, getting sleep is something that is so important to her. Being able to have a restful night is something that is so important to her. But as we look at this topic, ladies, what, Gia, do you think then are some of the things we've talked about? Stepping back, we've talked about taking that pause. What are other ways that we can put things in place in our lives to begin having a daily habit of wellness? Because you talked about it being a whole 360. So we're not just saying, oh, we got to get fit, go to the gym. We're talking about wellness in totality. What are some of the things that you think are important for everyone? Us as women who may be going through different seasons in our life, we may be transitioning from one stage to another, or from, career to having your own business, kids leaving home. What are some of the things that we can do that will help us stay grounded and be present so that we can just really appreciate all that we really do have?
Well, I jotted down just a few little things that I thought might help us. And again, the first thing on my list is always food. Like Shelley, I do not get it. I do not get it. I will admit it.
Not enough.
I'm gonna own it. I keep saying I'm gonna commit and be, committed to somebody, and like, did you go to sleep? Did you do what you're supposed to? But really, seriously, just even starting your evening, set a goal for yourself. Say this week at 8 p.m., I'm gonna shut off the television. I'm gonna shut down my phone. And from 8 a.m. or for an hour before you go to bed, take that time to maybe make yourself a cup of tea, pull out a book, journal, reflect on your day. Because as you take that time to just sit down and even just jot down some things during the day that you were grateful for, those little things that you didn't think about, that somebody that didn't cut you off when you were driving. They might have bought you a cup of coffee, or even small things we take for granted, like somebody opening the door for us when you go to the store. People don't do those things all the time anymore. And they're things that we really do just overlook. But it's just taking that time to be kind to someone else. Those are part of wellness. Because when you do something for somebody else, it does make you feel good. And what you put out, what we always forget, whether it's negative or positive, that's what's going to come back to you. So the more positive things you put out there, that's what's going to come back. get more liquid in your life, get more just, and I'm not talking alcohol. We all love our champagne, my champagne, but just get yourself a container of water that you can just drink during the day, because the more water that we get in our bodies, it helps keep us hydrated, keeps the joints moving, and that helps as we age, because I'm finding, see, and I don't have it, I'm sitting here drinking coffee instead of drinking water. I'm preaching to my own self. So definitely get more water. And again, when we go to bed, one of the things I'm really learning is to create that environment, because our environment is
Oh,
very
yes.
important also to our wellness. When you come into your home and there's a bunch of clutter, that's usually a sign of your mind, of what's going on in your mind. So when we have less clutter, whether it's in our offices where we're working every day, whether it's in our bedrooms, especially at night, get that warm, fuzzy blanket, that lingerie that you love that makes you feel really sexy, but just create that environment that it's an environment of love, that it brings in positive feelings, positive vibrations into your space. And also another thing that you can do is buy plants, because plants, they add oxygen to your environment. And they're a form of feng shui. It brings about the flow of the energy in and out of your home. And it's about creating a positive space, along with maybe essential oils, having a diffuser where you can really have very warming scents. Eucalyptus is very, for me, uplifting, and I use that a lot lately. Also, one of the things that I did lately that I have never actually done, but I actually encourage you all, whether it's just words that you can put on your wall, or a picture of yourself if you're trying to lose a few pounds. 3 years ago, I felt I was in the really best health that I ever was physically. And I'm working toward that now, to get back in that space. So in the bathroom, I found 3 pictures of myself, and I don't like doing this, but I put them up, and what I put underneath were the words, remember the feeling. It's not about the look, because we always focus so much about how we look when we're exercising even. And when we're aging, you want to be able to age, and as you change, it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes of exercise, whether it's an hour of the exercise. How do you feel? How are you feeling more energetic? Are you feeling more confident? Are you feeling more just alive? Because we are living longer. Life is changing, where our life expectancy, when we're taking care of ourselves, we could live. I have an aunt that's about to turn 99 next month, and my grandfather was 102. And so when I think about that, I just say, I want my quality of life to be well. And so when we take time for ourselves, and really, the last thing I do want to say, most importantly, is to start your day with God. Don't start with anything else. Don't get up and get on the phone. Don't get up and look at the Facebook. Don't engage with social media, but find that higher source, that higher power, that strength that's going to give you, because that's, for me, what it's been about, where the gratitude started, where the gratitude changed. It was in my relationship with God, and me being able to be grateful to be alive, to be able to have this conversation with you even. And I didn't need to say all that, but
Well, that's what I was thinking. You said you jot down a few things, but those are some huge and powerful steps that you
Powerful.
provided there. Absolutely powerful, because you mentioned having a routine, a night routine when you want to sleep well. It's simply not about, okay, I want to sleep well tonight, so I'm going to do it. You have to really put things in place to give yourself the best chance of success. so that if you want to be in bed and sleeping by 9 o'clock, you can't be coming off your phone at 9 o'clock. It's not going to happen that way. So we really do have to think about the steps and the stages, having a nice, comfortable place to sleep, wearing something that's comfortable, makes you feel good to sleep in. All those things are about preparing ourselves. And I do all of those things most recently, yeah, because it's a learning process, right? So I'm doing a lot better than I was. And being hydrated as well is something that affects our sleep, and people really don't understand that connection, how much drinking water affects our bodies and, the processes that we have to engage with. You mentioned starting the day right. That to me is, I think that's the number one thing, because when you start the day right, meaning start the day on something positive, start with reconnecting with the source of all joy and well-being. If we start with that, then whatever comes our way, we know that we're going to be able to handle it. It may not all be pleasant, but we're going to be able to handle it. So I have a recording, so I'm gonna listen to the recording again and take some more notes. Some really powerful stuff.
It really, I so agree with you. And there were so many things in there that even if you couldn't do one at this time, there were so many that you can actually find something from what Gia has shared that will actually get you started to having a life of wellness. And what I loved about it is that it really emphasized and reminded us that it is a 360, that it's the whole body, that it's the mind, the spirit, and the physical, and that it's all interwoven, and that we can't leave out one and think that it's the others are going to be able to compensate for it, that it has to be all of them working together, finding that balance and making it work. I had a conversation a couple of months ago with a lady that has started a business. Hello, Jennifer. The listening practice. And this is something that she shared with me. She had an acronym for NIGHT. And when Gia was speaking, I was reminded of it. No phone, just as Gia said, set a time when you're going to put down your phone. So the N was for no phone. The I is for being intentional. So being intentional, whether it is getting that night gear together, the sexy lingerie, the comfy PJs, whatever it is. G was expressing gratitude for the day that you've had, for the things that have, for all the blessings that came up in your day. And then H was for healing, to just allow healing to take place. And T was time for bed, night. You get into bed. And I thought that is just so cool. And I really think that one of the important things is just putting down the phone, setting a
Yeah.
time. And, one of the things that she said that stuck with me was set a time and say, okay, at 10 p.m. or at 9 p.m., whatever it is for you, the phone is down, I'm off. And then, set your mind then. And the mere fact that you're then, the last thing that you're thinking about is gratitude. The last thing that you're thinking about as you drift off to sleep are all the blessings that you had for the day and how it really helped you. I really think that is something for us to ponder on. So we talked about all the things that we can do. We talked a lot about the simple things that persons can do to incorporate wellness into their life. And through it all, we've been showing you how gratitude can be woven into it and how it really does make a difference. And I think, and Shelley can speak to this even better, that when we practice gratitude, probably like say a little bit about the saying it right, saying it loud, and saying it always. Because I think that 3 steps of gratitude is where you're going to actually build a habit. And if you
Yes.
apply that to everything, I think that's where you see the gems. That's where you see the changes actually happening in your life. That's where, things don't tick you off like they used to in the past.
Yeah, it really brings a calm, and that
Mhm.
I can testify to that. So I always joke about, I'm not just preaching it, I'm living it because the things that I mention are things that I do personally and that I'm aspiring for because I really and truly believe in that secret source, that cornerstone, powerful thing called gratitude. And I think in what Gia spoke about earlier in terms of, reframing and rephrasing using different words, that relates to the saying it right aspect of that three-part process. The other two parts are saying it loud and saying it always. The saying it loud means getting it out of your mind and out into the tangible space. Because sometimes when we keep it in our minds, we can doubt, is it real? Am I really feeling this? Is it really happening? But gratitude, to make it as powerful as possible, it has to be out in the physical world because we are also physical beings. We have the spirit and we have the soul, but we also have that physical aspect of ourselves. So we need to take gratitude at each phase: spirit, soul, and physical, tangible. And Gia mentioned journaling, writing things down. I do gratitude in the morning out loud, meaning I write down 5 things every morning that I'm grateful for, the night, the day before, trying to keep it as present as possible. And the active gratitude, saying it out loud, also means your behavior. Gio also mentioned, being kind to others
Mhm.
and doing things that bring joy for everyone, all concerned. It's not just about us, it's about the people and the relationships that we have. So sometimes even smiling at someone, saying good morning, little things like that brighten their day. Thank you for coming, thank you for joining us. Those types of things, that's all part of saying it loud. And then saying it always is the idea of creating that habit. And what do we need to create a habit? We need to be intentional. So we're not just relying on, what we were taught when we were kids. We say thank you and please. But gratitude is something that we have to be intentional about to make sure that we are expressing it as often and as best as we can. So learning about what gratitude actually is, different ways that we can be grateful, sharing this with others, writing it down, recording it, so that we can look back. All of these things work toward that saying it always. So um, say it right, say it loud, say it always falls in line quite perfectly with what Gia explained. And this is about well-being and wellness and our entire entity as human beings, the way we exist, mind, body, spirit, soul, all working together, expressing gratitude in all the different ways. So
Yeah.
most definitely, I can talk about this forever. So stop me
Oh,
now
we
because
know, we know. And I wanted to jump in there and just add on there that when you apply that, say it, put it,
right.
say it now, say it right, say it loud, say it
And say it
always. When you
always, yeah.
apply that to setting the goals that you want to achieve in your life, that is where the magic happens. Taking it from an idea of I want to achieve something and actually writing it down, building the momentum, trusting the process, and by doing it always, keeping yourself accountable or being kept accountable. These are some simple steps that help you to just stay on track, stay focused, and help you to achieve the goals that you want for yourself in life. And this is why persons that practice gratitude are that much more successful at achieving their goals than those who do not put the same amount of effort into it. There's as much science behind it, and we want to start, Shelley, on the science of it today because she does go into that for real. She so we know that there is the science behind practicing gratitude and achieving goals. And that is why we can come here and share all of these things with you so that you know that this is not something that we think about or that we just feel could happen. This is something that the research supports exactly what we are sharing with you. And you can go, as Shelley invited on our last Thursday, go and read some of the research that is out there. It is really phenomenal. But our time this morning is moving along so nicely because, of course, Gia has just been giving us loads and loads of gem. And I want to invite Gia to tell us a little bit about Pheonix Fountain, what Pheonix Fountain is all about and how persons can find you and Pheonix Fountain.
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Karen and Shelley, for this space, because as I'm sitting here listening, I was just kind of looking at my notes as Shelley was talking and Karen was talking about gratitude. And just there's a little spot that just says how gratitude plays a part in achieving these goals. And I'm just like thinking we are just all so in sync of what we're talking about and sharing about. And it's actually just really for me, personally, again, being a woman, we go through changes, we go through life. And these last few weeks, I have been struggling and I have not been in that positive, grateful place. And this morning, doing this interviewing and being asked to participate in this has brought that back up to the forefront and the importance of why I need to be consistent, why you need to do it every day, why you need to not come up with a reason, even if it's just 5 minutes, just be grateful. Just be grateful. So with that, thank you again. A little bit about Pheonix's Fountain. Pheonix's Fountain Wellness Coaching. I help women tap into their inner strength so that they create balance in their life. And I do this by helping them increase their gratitude and incorporate mindful practices so that they can live the life that the freedom to live the life that they want to live. My vision is to create a safe and loving haven, a place where women can just be free to be themselves without judgment or any kind of, just a space where they can be who they are and just to be loved. And as I said before, coming from a place where I didn't feel safe or free to really express myself when I was struggling, and not just mentally, but physically, when we're going through changes as women and we don't always know what's going on with our bodies. Sometimes it's easier to talk to other people. And so that's what I'm here for. And so I have a program. This is a 6-month program where I will work with women specifically on areas that they want to improve, whether it's nutrition, whether it's ways to increase gratitude, wellness, mindfulness into their lives. But it's just about learning how to love through self-compassion, teaching you to reframe old thoughts and create new beliefs and become more balanced. I can be reached. If you would like more information, I will drop my information in the chat. On LinkedIn is the best way to contact me, as I do still have a full-time job. So if I don't respond right away, I will respond within the next 24 hours, as I always do, because I am a woman who multitasks, a woman of many talents that I am happy to say and pleased that God has blessed me to have many talents to be able to do that. And that is a little bit about Pheonix's Fountain. And again, thank you, Karen, for showing me and for having me here.
Thank you so much, Gia. We really appreciated having you here as our guest this evening. And I'm really going to leave the honor of our wrap up with you to Shelly Ann, because you already know how much I love you.
Well, now you know how much I love you too. I'm really happy that you took the time out today to share with us, because for me, even though I believe in gratitude so much and I understand the benefit of it, when I hear others speak about it and how they implement it in their lives, it energizes me, because it's like reinforcement. You're on the right track. You know, this is real. Because reading the research, it still feels like it's out there, other people, somebody else is happening with. But having this kind of intimate conversation, it just so reinforces, yes, we're on the right track. Gratitude is incredibly important, and there are lots of little things that we can do. We don't have to do all at once. We can get a coach like Gia to help us go through little by little. We can get a coach like Karen or myself to help us go through little by little, because it's not about accumulating everything. It's about how we feel and expressing that gratitude one day, one step, one moment at a time. So thank you so very, very much, Gia, for all the information that you've shared, and you've shared quite a lot. I'm going to have to review this, like I said, and make some notes because it's a lot. And it really helps with the practical ways of getting it done with gratitude. And that's the thing that this entire program is about. It's really about sharing with everyone who can take the time to listen, go through the videos, to show them that you can get it done when life knocks you down. Get up, dust off, be grateful for anything and everything around you, and that's going to help you build the resilience moving forward. So thank you so very much again. And for those of you who are with us on the live, thank you very much for taking the time. Those who are looking at the recording, we appreciate you as well. Please leave us a note. Let us know what you would like to hear more about. Tell us how the presentation was, and look out for Gia's details so that you can connect with her on LinkedIn. Remember, message first. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. And remember, you can get it done with gratitude.
See you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday.
Bye-bye.